Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel that takes you deep inside the San Francisco 49ers. I am your host, Jack Hammer, here at Levi Stadium, where the 49ers open their preseason here at home. They started last week out in Las Vegas. Now their home opener for the preseason. They'll be here this week. They'll be here on Friday night as well. Tonight, the 49ers taking on the Denver Broncos. Russell Wilson. It's going to be an interesting contest. We're going to get into everything for you to keep an eye on during tonight's game throughout the show. It's going to be a quick one, probably about 15 or 20 minutes. You can hear the band warming up behind me. The atmosphere at Levi's is really on point, especially with this being a preseason game. Should be a lot of fun for everybody that's checking it out tonight. Let's get into the things to keep an eye on. We've got real quick, want to shout out Randall. Randall's a member of the Toolboxes. Hope to see Purdy tonight play a series or two. Hey, and that's where we're going to start tonight, Randall. We're going to actually be talking about the quarterback situation, who's going to be where. And the first thing to watch for is the starters. According to Kyle Shanahan, there is a possibility of quarterback Brock Purdy making his preseason debut tonight. For this to happen, the 49ers starting offense will need to be on the field with them, or at least most of it. I would expect to see most of those starters, maybe no Trent Williams, but all the other starters I would think on the offensive line would have to be out there. Might even have to be a little bit of a Brandon Ayuk or Deebo Samuel as well. I'm not sure there, but, if Brock Purdy does touch the field, if he is out there tonight, look for Brock Purdy and the starters just to be on the field for a short period of time, maybe a series, maybe two. It's all going to depend on how many plays they get in. If they go out and they go 3 and out on that first series, I would expect to see them come back. If they go out there, get a first down, move the ball, that type of thing, I think it would just be one and done for Purdy and the starters. So keep an eye on that. We know from already, along with for the Denver Broncos, Russell Wilson is expected to play about 20 to 25 plays tonight. So that's going to be pretty much the entire first quarter, maybe a little bit into the second quarter even on the other side for the Denver Broncos. So it'll be interesting to see if the 49ers don't start their starters on the defensive side, how that's really going to show us a little bit, I think, about the linebackers and some of those pass rushers that aren't necessarily starters that are going to be starting the game tonight if that's the case. We'll see what they decide to do on the defensive side of the ball. Speaking of the 49ers here. So, as I said, Brock Purdy, no definitive answer on that. I'm going to be going to the stadium here as soon as we're done. That'll be about 90 minutes before, and we'll be able to get an idea whether or not he's warming up and he's on the field with the team getting ready for this game. As far as the quarterback rotation, Trey Lance got the first half of the game last week against the Raiders with Sam Darnold coming in for the third quarter. Depending on what happens with Brock Purdy, if Brock Purdy doesn't go, I would fully expect to see Sam Darnold start this game. And then after that, have him play the entire first half with Trey Lance coming on for the third quarter, then Brandon Allen coming in on the fourth quarter like we saw last week. I'd expect basically everything we saw last week, just flipping Lance and Darnold, and that battle for that backup spot behind Brock Purdy, I think is tight. Darnold looks better. There's no doubt about it. When you watch him, he looks better, right? But you look at the results between Darnold and Lance, and they're not that much different. They're very similar. In a lot of ways, that's why I think that Trey Lance would still, in my opinion, get the nod over Sam Darnold. Like I said, Darnold looks great, dropping back, getting the ball off his hand quick, but we don't always know where the ball is going. So that's why when it comes to Sam Darnold in that battle, I don't know if I put a whole lot of stock in him just quite yet. But I can understand why some folks are high on him. This is a good one. I should have brought this up. We have Mimi B. I should have brought this one up to Jack. What happened to Taco and LeBourne? Taco Charlton was placed on injured reserve. So Taco Charlton's season is done. Injured reserve out for the year. Kalen LeBourne, he was waived. The running back was waived. The 49ers signing 2 new defensive linemen yesterday. So Darius Hamilton and Tomasi Lalil were signed yesterday. Lalil is more of a interior defensive tackle. Hamilton, an edge rusher. So that's where the replacement will go. So the moves of Charlton and LeBourne we should have seen something happening. Those other 2 coming on board. Taco Charlton, just an injury that takes him out. And LeBourne, I would say LeBourne, the writing was on the wall there too. He wasn't going to be a guy that was going to make the roster. This gives him a chance to maybe stick with somebody else. The other thing with LeBourne is that the reason I say the writing was on the wall isn't so much making the roster, but you started to see in practice this week, the 49ers had gone out and they had signed Jeremy McNichols last week, and McNichols was getting a lot of carries with that second, third unit during practice this week, and LeBourne was pretty much non-existent. So the writing was a little bit on the wall there. So out goes Taco Charlton to injured reserve. Out goes LeBourne via being waived in. Thomas comes Hamilton, and it's not Ladarius Hamilton, excuse me, and Tomasi Lalil coming on board. So that's what happened there. What else do we have? So, and you look at went through the quarterbacks, went through the starters. Jordan Mason, Ty Davis Price. This is one that I'm going to be paying attention to. Elijah Mitchell dealing with injuries again, and that opens the door for Jordan Mason and Ty Davis Price to get a lot of run tonight, just as they did last week. And for me, when I watched Jordan Mason out there, Mason's looked solid during camp. Several nice runs here during training camp. Most importantly, showing himself to be more than capable of pass protection. So when you're watching Jordan Mason, Ty Davis Price, and you see them on the field tonight, pay close attention to how they perform in pass protection, because that's something that stood out to me in the game against the Raiders last week. Ty Davis Price just had a very poor showing against the Raiders, missing several times in pass protection, really just diving at the feet of the guys, which you see at times, but also when he didn't dive, just throwing a shoulder at him and missing quite often. And a lot of blame going to the defensive line or offensive line, excuse me, but a lot of it goes back on the running backs not being able to block very well. And that's one of the things with Jordan Mason, running well, but Jordan Mason has also shown himself more than capable as a pass protector. Very often squaring up those rushers, those blitzers, does a much better job there. The band comes on behind me, and they're going to walk right behind me. I don't even know if you guys can hear me. I can barely hear myself. Here, let's see. See if we can get them on the screen for you. Here they come. These guys are noisy as heck. They interrupt my show every week. I'm gonna have to tell them, hey, cut it out. Jack's on the show. But that's where we are right now, and they're right behind me. Kalen LeBourne out. Jordan Mason, Ty Davis Price. Pay attention to them in pass blocking. Next up is, look at this. They're going to line up right behind me. They heard me talking about them, and now they're going to line up right behind me. So let's get this on the road. The Niner noise right behind me. This is good stuff. Perfect way for the show. Cameron Latu, San Francisco spent a third-round pick on the former Alabama tight end. So far, that investment's not paying off. There you go. All right. So they were loud. Hey, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hey, there's some Big Niner gang from the Niners Noise Group. So here we go. We're going to get back on the show. Cameron Latu. That's where I was when the noise started up. Let's take a look at Cameron Latu. Okay. Cameron Latu, the 49ers spent a third-round pick on the former Alabama tight end. So far, the investment's not paying off. Latu struggling to hold on to the ball throughout camp. You've been watching my shows throughout the camp after practice. It's almost a daily occurrence where he's dropping passes. And, when he doesn't catch the ball, when he does catch the ball like he did against the Raiders, he fumbles it. And, with the drafting of Latu and Braden Willis, it's clear the 49ers are looking for upgrades behind George Kittle. However, it's not playing out that way so far. So we got to see how he does tonight. Willis, Braden Willis has already proven to be a better pass catcher of the two between him and Cameron Latu, but he's not yet the blocker that Latu is, or veteran Charlie Warner. On the other hand, you have Ross Dwelley, who is one of the best receivers on the team, does a great job with his hands, but he's working to improve as a blocker. And then, you just kind of look at it, and Latu's drops could lead to some very tough decisions for the 49ers at this position come the cut down. So keep an eye on this tonight at the tight end spot. There's not going to be George Kittle. He's already ruled out. He hasn't practiced all this week. So we're going to see a lot of Ross Dwelley, a lot of Charlie Warner, Cameron Latu, and the group tonight. So let's see how this all plays out. Also, Trayvon McGauley, we might see some of him as well. So keep an eye on the tight ends because there is a battle going on for everything behind that number one spot. Next up, slot corner. San Francisco added Isaiah Oliver to be their slot corner during free agency. However, he had a rough performance out in Vegas, both in practices and in the games, after which Kyle Shanahan said that Oliver isn't a guaranteed starter, that he's been doing that spot a lot, but there's a big competition there. And when you watch it, the competition ramped up this week during practice with Deommodore Lenoir, A.J. Parker, and rookie Deshaun Jameson all getting several reps inside. So keep an eye on that slot corner position. Jump over to the linebackers now. Keep an eye on the rookies, Jalen Graham, D. Winters. They are pushing veterans Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles and Curtis Robinson. So number 50, Jalen Graham. Number 53, D. Winters. They are pushing for roster spots behind Fred Warner, Dwayne Greenlaw, and Oren Burks. I feel Warner, Greenlaw, Burks, they're the only guarantees of this position to be on the roster. Everything else is up for grabs at this point. Graham has really been coming on. Had 6 tackles against the Raiders, which tied him for the team lead with Marcelino McCrary-Ball. McCrary-Ball also fighting for a spot on the roster. Right now, I would say that Graham and Winters are actually above Marcelino McCrary-Ball as well, especially if the 49ers keep only 5. So Graham's background as a safety linebacker hybrid in college is like that of Fred Warner. And like the 49ers all-pro linebacker, Graham has shown the ability to move well in coverage while also attacking the line of scrimmage against the run. So a lot to like there at the linebacker spot as well. So, pay attention to those tight ends for the 49ers. Also on the offensive side, pay attention to those linebackers on the defensive side. I might have to do this. Randall says, Jack, go buy some stick 'em gloves for Latu. Tell him I said he's welcome. Hey, I probably should do that. Now give me a super chat, like $50 or something like that. Then I can afford those gloves. But yeah, absolutely. That is definitely one of the things that we've got to pay attention to. Niner Noise ripping it tonight. And then also, I got to put this one up because I'm a sucker for people that say nice things about me. And Fish and Chips coming in and saying Jack is definitely becoming one of my favorite chilled out reporting, no drama. Hey, that's all it is, right? There's no reason to bring drama. The 49ers bring the drama themselves. I don't have to bring extra drama on top of it. The football season, it brings enough drama as we have anyway. So especially with this quarterback position between Sam Darnold and Trey Lance, there's no reason for additional drama. Trust me on that one. So far we talked about the quarterbacks, talked about Mason versus Davis Price, particularly the running backs when it comes to their run blocking. Cameron Latu, Braden Willis, that tight end position. There's a lot of moving parts behind George Kittle. Slot corner, Isaiah Oliver struggling. So I don't expect to see Deommodore Lenoir tonight, but if we do, that'd be cool. Otherwise, you'll probably see A.J. Parker and Deshaun Jameson getting reps in the slot. Linebackers, Jalen Graham, D. Winters, that's 50 and 53. Now, next up, offensive line. The 49ers starters are set. We know who the 49ers starting offensive line is. The key question is going to be who fills in the 3 positions behind them. We know that Trent Williams, Aaron Biggs, Jake Brendel, Spencer Burford, and Colt McKivitz, we know they're the starters. But what's going to happen behind them? John Feliciano is about as sure of a thing as there is behind those five starters. He's going to be the main guy in the middle, either at center or guard. We know that. He is a very good swing off interior offensive lineman. Started at center against the Raiders. Can play all three of those spots in there. Swing tackle is up for grabs, though, right? Swing tackle, you've got Jalen Moore and Matt Pryor as your top two competing. Moore been with the 49ers. He was a 2021 fifth round pick. And I think he has the edge due to his ability to play both sides. Well, Pryor is pretty much just stuck on the right side. He hasn't played any left tackle yet for the 49ers in practice that have been open to the media, which of all the practices, he might have done a little bit of it in walkthroughs and that kind of stuff. We haven't seen him there, didn't see him there against the Raiders. I don't think we'll see him there tonight, whereas Moore has that ability to go back and forth. And then the other one, that eighth and final spot on the roster, that's even more of a tough call. You have Nick Zakelj, who was a sixth-round pick last year. He's been up and down through camp. And the same thing can be said for second-year player Jason Poe. So pay attention to the offensive line because they need 8. We know 5. We know 6 with Feliciano. 7 is going to be Jalen Moore or Matt Pryor, most likely. Bill Manning getting a lot of love, but Manning was doing all of his work against the third team guys. I don't expect to see him stepping up tonight. I don't think we'll see him with the that second unit. And then beyond that, the 49ers, it's pretty much Moore or Pryor as that swing tackle, and then Zakelj or Poe as that final guy on the roster, unless they decide that they're going to some way that maybe Jalen Moore is going to slide inside. But I haven't seen them even try that with him yet. So, I mentioned Manning, Joey Fisher, another one who drew praise from offensive line coach Chris Verster for their play late in the game on Sunday. But those are guys I think are fighting more for a spot on the practice squad. I don't see them making the active roster. 2 more names to pay attention to. Number 1, Robert Beal Jr. The 49ers used a 5th-round pick for the defensive end out of Georgia. The main reason they got it, they liked him, was because he had that ability to get off the ball, that get the GTFO, get the off the ball. And that's what Beals brings. He was held out of the preseason opener due to injury. He just had barely made it back on the Thursday before the game. 49ers were drawn to him, like I said, because of that explosiveness, and that's something that he showed off during some one-on reps this week, especially one rep against Trent Williams. So keep an eye out on Robert Beal Jr., number 55. Double fives, the double nickel, Robert Beal Jr. Keep an eye out on him. Let's see if he can make some plays for that 49ers defense when he's on the field. And last but not least, this is for my good buddies that like special teams, Jake Moody. Now, I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen with Jake Moody tonight. There's some talk that you may see some of St. Gonzalez as well. But Moody gave plenty of ammo to the fans who felt the 49ers screwed up by taking a kicker in the 3rd round when he missed both of his field goals last week against the Raiders. One from 40 out and went wide left, and then one went wide right. It almost ended up at the Raiders practice facility in Henderson from 58 yards out. The rookie was really good in practice this week. The only miss coming on a 61-yard attempt Tuesday afternoon. So this will be Moody's first attempt to kick here at Levi Stadium. He hasn't had any workouts inside the stadium since being drafted by the 49ers. All of his work in Santa Clara coming over on the practice field. So if Jake Moody gets out there, how does he perform inside of Levi Stadium? Can he redeem himself in the eyes of 49er fans who didn't like the pick to begin with and then really didn't like it after he missed some kicks last week? So keep an eye on it. There you go. Now, really quick, Andrew H. says, Jack, do you think Warner will make a reception this season? If he's on the team, I'm going to say, yeah, he'll get 1. But last year, he was targeted only twice last year, got none. Hey, Ashley says, thanks for the continued coverage, Jack. Ashley, good to have you on board. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. What else we got? Let's just see if there's any other questions before we go. Niners noise coming by again. They're going to make a bunch of, I can't even hear myself when they come by. I love them. Let's see what else. I think that's it. So, again, pay attention tonight. Quarterbacks. Does Brock Purdy go? If not, how do the other quarterbacks play? The running backs, pay attention to the blocking in particular of both Jordan Mason and Ty Davis Price. You'll also probably see a lot of Jeremy McNichols, number 22, in the game tonight as well. At tight end, Cameron Latu, can he catch? Slot corner, Probably going to be A.J. Parker, Deshaun Jameson most of the way tonight. A little bit of, probably see a little bit of Isaiah Oliver, I would expect again. I don't know if we're going to see Deommodore Lenoir on the field tonight. Those rookie linebackers, Jalen Graham, number 50, D. Winters, 53. That offensive line, how is that working out behind that starting group? John Feliciano, I think, is a guarantee. That swing tackle is going to be Moore or Pryor. How does that work out? And then the eighth guy is a real crapshoot there. And pay attention to 55, Robert Beal Jr. on the defensive side. So there you have it. Jake Moody also with the field goals. There you have it for tonight. If you guys can do me a favor, I'm going to head inside. Can you please hit the like button if you can? Once you're done hitting the like button, also make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And when you subscribe, turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of the updates right here on Inside the 49ers with Jack Hammer. I will be back after the game with my breakdown of the contest here inside Levi Stadium. Keep it locked in here throughout the night. Have a good one. Get over to 49ers.pressdemocrat.com as well for the live blog that we'll be running there. Have a great night, everybody. I'll be talking to you soon. Take care. See you after the game.